Hey guys, it's Destiny, and today I thought I'd discuss Black Swan since I was getting a few questions from you guys as to how I feel about her kit, if she's gonna be good without Kafka, and much more. If you guys do enjoy videos like these, do make sure to subscribe, leave a like to support the video, and before we start, let me know in the comments down below what's one of your favorite video games. It could be newer, it could be older, whichever, it doesn't really matter. Let me know. And for one of mine, it's definitely Pokemon Mystery Dungeon for sure. Now though, let's get straight into it. I wanted to start off with Black Swan's kit as the livestream revealed some aspects of her kit alongside gameplay we can take a look at. Black Swan is a Wind Nihility character and definitely has a more complex kit than what we've seen so far, since she has a unique damage over time, which is Arcana. Arcana appears to be stackable, and in the livestream, there were numerous ways that Arcana seems to be applied onto enemies. One way is starting off the battle with Black Swan's technique, which are the cards appearing as the battle commences. Additionally, it appears that there will be some adjacent damage capabilities with Arcana stacks, as the middle enemy got hit with the card, and the wolf adjacent also seemed to possibly have taken damage, and also potentially gained another stack of Arcana afterwards. Black Swan's basic attack will hit a singular enemy, but as we can see, will also have the ability to apply Arcana stacks onto that enemy as well. Her skill also does this and applies Arcana to adjacent enemies as well, plus on top of that, her skill also gives a defense drop, as shown by the icon here. Allies can also help with Arcana stacks. We don't know the exact specifics, but Kafka using her skill made the enemy in the middle gain additional stacks. Since Black Swan appears to be highly damage over time centric, maybe it has to relate to a damage over time condition regarding allies. Not too sure. They also showed us the amount of Arcana stacks will matter, as it appears to be more damaging to the main target and also adjacents. Not much is known about the ultimate, but it will attack all enemies on the field. So depending on what this ultimate does can add to fun twists in Black Swan's really interesting kit. It's also mentioned that there are various effects depending on how many Arcana stacks are on enemies. So when playing a character like Black Swan, you'll want to take advantage of the stacks, and as a result create a synergistic team that allows her to get as many stacks as she can. So if we were to sum up Black Swan, she is a Wind Nihility 5-star. She appears to be pretty backloaded, similar to a lot of our DOT-Centric characters, as once it's the enemy's turn, then all the effects in those stacks will take place. Unlike Kafka though, who is more front-loaded with her detonations and personal damage, and can take advantage of the backloaded side of damage over time effects when it's the enemy's turn with proper teams. Black Swan appears to have sub-DPS capabilities similar to our other damage over time characters, which once we get more information on her, she may potentially be able to be a main DPS, but I feel like she's going to primarily be a strong sub-DPS on team comps. That's just so far how I'm feeling, especially depending on how much damage her Arcana stacks can actually deal to enemies as well. Based on everything discussed so far, the question might be, who are Black Swan's best potential partners? Right off the bat, Kafka. Kafka will definitely be one of her best partners due to Kafka being able to take advantage of Black Swan's kit. The defense drop Black Swan provides as well is another cherry on top. And the third slot can likely be another damage over time character to have a bunch of damage over time applying to enemies. Or you could potentially also go the support route, and then the final character would be a sustain on a team comp. Black Swan and Kafka more than likely will be as synergistic as bread and butter. I don't actually know if I can consider food a synergy, but today we're going to be doing that. I could see Sampo, Gwenifon, or Luca as a nice third slot overall. Kind of just depends on what the enemy is weak to. And if you decide to go with 3 damage over time characters, that'll more than likely be your options. With the speculation that Black Swan will get more Arcana stacks if enemies are inflicted with some form of damage over time as mentioned before, based on how Kafka was able to deal additional Arcana stacks onto an enemy, then having 3 damage over time characters will be able to benefit Black Swan by an immense amount. We'll have to wait and see how exactly allies provide Arcana stacks onto enemies, but so far that's my speculation. Now for teams without Kafka, one team I have in mind is actually the Sampo team I've showcased before on this channel, which is Sampo, Pela, Ranmei, and Luocha. The reason I mention this specific team is because Black Swan more than likely can easily replace Pela's role as a sub-DPS on the comp, and make for a great synergy between all the characters on the team. Luocha is completely optional by the way, you don't need him, you can use any sustain of your choosing. The idea though with this comp is that Ranmei will be able to increase the weakness breaking efficiency of the team alongside the other buffs she provides. Sampo highly takes advantage of this to break enemies as fast as he can and also as much as he can. Black Swan can also benefit from the buffs as it'll result in her dealing more damage, plus the team should be fairly decent in skill points depending on who your sustain is. I'll definitely be showcasing this team in particular once Black Swan does arrive, as I believe it'll work pretty nicely. As for general partners though, Sampo is definitely going to be one of the main ones to consider because he's able to increase the damage over time taken with his ultimate, and he's also great at stacking a bunch of wind shear stacks onto enemies. Gwen can be a nice consideration as well, but if it's a team without Kafka, it might be a little trickier to use, since Gwen isn't multi-hitting the same way Sampo is, so you won't be getting as many damage over time stacks in comparison. Fire Kiss though is a nice benefit overall though when we do consider Gwen. The question is though, will Black Swan be fine without Kafka? It's not that Black Swan won't work without her, but I do believe you will get the best results by far with a character like Kafka on the team. Her detonating damage over time is incredibly powerful when it comes to this playstyle, and she's essentially the queen of damage over time. There will of course be alternative teams, such as the one I suggested I'm going to try myself once she does release to show you guys the results, and then we can also come back to this topic and just review those results as well. And then I can also confidently say whether or not I can fully recommend her without Kafka, but if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, right now I am iffy on whether or not I can consider her without Kafka, because of how strong the Kafka and Black Swan team synergy more than likely will be. I know a lot of us are also on the fence of going for Sparkle instead, or even saving for 2.1 since Acheron did get confirmed, and a lot are also hyped for her as well. If you don't have Kafka, I would recommend waiting until Black Swan releases before you pull and see how good she is without Kafka in showcases, just to ensure you make the right decision for your account overall. And of course, also taking a look at the other options that are available, such as Sparkle, Acheron, or technically even Aventurin is an option as well. You can consider these options since they might benefit your account overall even more. Now, of course, if Black Swan is your favorite character, then that would weigh more on you pulling for Black Swan over the other options, of course. But that'll be all for my thoughts on Black Swan right now. I'd love to know if you guys believe Black Swan will be good without Kafka or not really. Also, which characters are you guys excited for when it comes to Penacony? I'd love to know. Lastly, if you did enjoy, make sure to subscribe, leave a like to support the video, and stay tuned for Black Swan showcases as well once she releases, and more videos this week as well. I hope you all have a nice one like always. Peace.